everybody, welcome to my channel for the second game of the UB French team tournament. I'm facing Solkis playing Warrior of the Dark God. Was pretty happy in the pairing process with my team because I have a pretty shooty list and I'm facing Warrior of the Dark God with many monsters, so not too bad for this matchup. So here you have my list in case you don't remember. And here's the list of my opponent. Basically has a Sorcerer and a Wasteland Dragon, the 2 Feldark Elder, 2 times Feldark, 2 units of Warrior, Mark of Envy, 2 Piece of Chaff, the Exalted Herald, and a Giant. So a typical War of the Dark God list that works well at the moment with the 2 Feldark Elder and 2 units of Feldark, and then you have some combination that you can change, either go for the Dragon or go for something else. In this case, my opponent chose to go with the big Dragon and the Sorcerer of Evocation on top. We played Frontline Clash and King of the Hill. I chose a spell, Swarm of Insects, to threat a little bit the big monsters, Break the Spirit, and then the usual combo, Children of Umi and Awaken the Beast. I got as a bound spell Children of Umi with the Frost Mammoth, and with my Shaman, the Rod of Battle, as a bound spell as well. My opponent went for the Snipe, D3 Snipe, a Touch of the Reaper, I guess that's the name. And then -1 toughness and leadership, reroll to wound, the hereditary, so 2d6 strength 6, the Wrath of God, and then the spell 5 and 6 of occultism, so Gravecall and Mark for Doom, so a lot of range damage in his magic. What do I expect in this matchup? I have a lot of range damage, so I expect either him to go for it, rush, or try to refuse the game and hide the monsters. That's more or less what I expect. This could change as well during the game, we'll see. I think he would need a good combo charge to win battle against my Bruiser block. I have Ligatong, which is a bit annoying for him, and he would need really to come really strong against this unit to win the combat, or at least to make me flee. So this will help me in this scenario to protect the piece of terrain I choose. It's a positive matchup, like I said before. I have a lot of juicy targets for my shooting, so that should have good opportunities to kill big targets. I have a high number of chaff, so that could be really helpful as well to avoid him getting a good combo charge against one of my units and therefore be in danger. And last but not least, of course, my hunter will try to, on one hand, try to threat his big monsters with the hunting spear, and on the other hand, try to make him look twice before going full speed to my deployment zone. So that's a little bit the idea, to play a bit on the side with both hunters. Deployment, my opponent chose the side and took the south part with the hill as a piece of terrain for King of the Hill. I chose the top part. I chose, the top part, of course, but then I chose the wall as piece of terrain to defend. Basically, we had only 3 alternatives outside of deployment zone: the wall, the forest, and the hill. I was a little bit surprised that my opponent took the hill and then decided to counter-deploy in such a way, because for me it was straightforward. When I saw that he chose the hill, I was like, okay, I will take the wall, drop everything, and then, either he will go on this side, and then it should be quite easy for me to go on the hill quite quickly, or he decided to go frontal, and then it's good to shoot in the early stage of the game. That was a bit the idea, so I deployed Frost Mammoth on the left, Keen Eater on the board to act as Bishop Chaff, the unit of mercenaries, the 3 unit of tribesmen, the cannon, my dog. So basically the idea with the cannon was to have a good arc with both mercenaries, cannon, frost, to be able to shoot behind the hill if needed. Then here I put the vanguarding Mammoth Hunter and the scouting Mammoth Hunter on this side, and my opponent decided to hide all his big pieces. So Giant behind the hill, 2 Elder behind the impassable terrain, the Dragon behind the impassable, the Exalted Herald, and then both units of Feldark really far away from my zone. And if you see a little bit the map, we have this huge impassable in the middle of the map, plus the house. So this corridor is it's forming a bottleneck. It's quite a bit small to pass with a lot of units at the same time. So that might be a bit complicated for my opponent to go around quickly. So that's something positive for me. When I saw this deployment, what I expected is him to refuse the game, basically, at least in the first stage, to stay a bit behind. and don't give me any opportunity to shoot him. That should allow me to go forward with all my unit and try to shot a bit at the chaff, which is not bad, because if my list can deal with one big pieces or a couple of units, then after one after the other, it's much easier for me than when he goes forward with all his big monster, the Feldark, everybody forward, and then I really have to kill something, because if not, I will get charged really soon in the game. So I was maybe a bit surprised if he decided to go for this approach, that he didn't choose another piece of terrain. For example, if he would have chosen top with the forest, then he can always refuse a bit the game, but still protect his piece of terrain. And then for me, I have the only ways to choose the hill. So either I deploy here and go for the forest, but he can still counter-deploy in the opposite half and then have better chances for the scenario. Here, what surprised me is a bit the fact that he chose this piece of terrain and then to refuse a little to deploy on the other half, and therefore make things hard for him to defend this piece of terrain. My turn 1. I march forward with mercenaries, frost everybody a bit, turn around a little bit the Death Star, turn around the cannon, and then just move a bit sideways with my hunter at the moment. And here I come on the hill to shoot at the giant, leaving a quite long charge for the warrior block with a lot of counter charges behind. If he charges me, I can always flee behind, so I have a lot of options at my disposal. Magic. I'm casting, first of all, a Swarm of Insect on this Elder. With my movement, I was able to see him. And I'm able to do 1 wound. Then I tried to break the spirit on the dragon, I guess. Failed. And then I tried the +1 strength on this guy to throw a heavy spear on the giant, but I failed. And then shooting a spear did nothing. The 4-shot poison on the piece of chaff to try to force panic check did nothing. So that's it for turn 1. And of course, with the cannon, I didn't shoot, because I don't have any juicy target at the moment, and I don't want to risk any misfire on the 5+, so I just decided to move a bit sideways, and that's it for the moment. My opponent's turn 1. He moves a bit forward, but stays carefully behind the piece of terrain with all 4 big targets, so Exalted Herald, Dragon, both Elder. And for the time being, he moved a bit around with the giant, but staying a bit far away. Not possible for me to shoot him with the cannon, and still a bit far away from mercenaries and so on. And to my surprise, he decided to use a piece of chaff. I thought it was a bit early, because he has nothing really to profit from the situation created by the piece of chaff, because basically I can charge with a unit and then flee. And I mean, I took a piece of chaff for almost nothing, because I should be able to rally within BSB and General's bubble. So it's quite likely for me that I should be able to rally and therefore just clean a piece of chaff and then propose him a failed charge, a long charge. But then if he charges, it would be a failed charge. So I wouldn't be too afraid of the warrior charging me. So that's was a bit surprised by this early chaff. And the rest of the army didn't move much. He has to be careful on the right side, because if he comes too much forward, I can always charge with my hunter, and I'm still a bit scary on the charge with the strength 6 attacks. And then in Magic, he put a Touch of the Reaper and does 1 wound to my hunter, and tries to put a Gravecrawl on him as well, but failed, and then tried Mark for Doom and was able to dispel it. So of course he has a lot of range damage, and tried to focus me to be to march forward, but he was able only to do 1 wound this turn. My turn 2. I charge the piece of chaff, I move around out of arc with the hunter to throw another spear, I move a bit sideways with the frost to have a good coverage on the front of my unit. Basically the idea, if he comes chaff me and push forward with everybody, because I have always to keep in mind the fact that he can always chaff and come out of this place with everybody and be quite fast. I mean, with 16 he can be really on the front line with like 3-4 monster on this line quite quickly. So if he comes forward, chaff me and put everybody behind, and I have no terror possibility, it could be a bit dangerous for me. That's why I put the Frost Mammoth a bit back to cover my lines and be able to threat him with terror if needed. And the rest, I move a bit forward with the mercenaries. The idea will be to shoot with the BSB and mercenaries on this piece of chaff. If I'm able to clean both pieces of chaff this turn, that would be not bad for me, because then I would be more safe in the fact that he couldn't really chaff me and march forward with everybody. That's a bit the idea. I decide to move back with my hunter. The idea is to be out of charge range, and then in a second stage I can always come a bit back. I move a bit sideways. Yeah, didn't move that much with the general's unit. And I guess that's it. Put the Keen Eater behind of the hill, ready to chaff if needed. Magic, I'm casting a Swarm of Insects on the dogs, did 1 wound, and then I did a Break the Spirit, I guess, in one of the warrior units, I guess, I'm not so sure. And then shooting, I was able to do 2 wounds to the giant with the hunting spear, which was good, and then another wound with the frost mammoth. So 3 wounds. The mercenaries killed 5 dogs, so 2 remaining. He passes the leadership check 8 with no reroll, and then with the BSB 4 shot 4 plus poison, I was able to do nothing another turn. So that's a bit sad because with 2 turns I should have been able to kill this unit by now, but he still has a piece of chaff. And here I was able only to kill 4 of them. He was able to flee. I just restrain not to be in the middle of the board. Could have maybe pursued and end up here in the middle of the board, and then if he charged me I can always flee, and then he would end up in front of me, but I didn't like the possibilities given to him. I prefer to restrain, make him flee, then he can always rally, he can always shoot if needed, so that was better for me, I guess. He's turn 2, and now he decided to come a little bit out, so he didn't charge with the warrior because I was able to put Break the Spirit. Maybe considering the fact that I had Break the Spirit on, I should have pursued. And then if he wanted to charge me in the later stage, I can always flee later, but I would have had the chance to catch the dogs. That would have been maybe good. So he moved now forward, decided to take some risk because I took some points, and he sees that it will be hard for the scenario, so he decided to move forward. Giant moves forward 14 to threat a bit the mercenaries. He rally and reform the dogs. That was a 5 to, that's why I didn't pursue. I remember now. He had only a 5 with no reroll, so I thought, yeah, I mean, that's a low chance to rally. If he doesn't rally, he will be far away from me, so let's see. That's why I decided not to pursue. I remember now, so he was able to rally on a 5, luckily for him. And then yeah, he moves forward with everybody, so Exalted, here the Elder, second Elder, Feldark. Still he has to be careful not to give me an easy charge with the Hunter, so this Hunter makes a good job. And the Dragon stays behind the Impassable for now. Magic, I put a Grave Call on the mercenaries with 4 dice, rolls 3 times 4 and a 6, so he will lose the spell. I let this on and he's able to do 5 wounds to my mercenaries, which is good news for him, but no Grave Call anymore, which is always something positive to take from this situation. And then he's able to put another snipe and do another wound to my Hunter, and he tries Wrath of God but fails to cast it. My turn 3. I take another charge with the Ogres. Basically, I see all the flee corridor are not so bad for me. If he can charge with any of these units, I will have maybe a panic check with one of these units, but within range of BSB General, and I should be able to clean the chaff. So I charge the chaff. And then what else? Yeah, I just move a bit around, decide to form a little space for my Hunter to throw another spear at the giant, but not to give any charge for the warrior against the Hunter. And here I let a 10 Swift Ride with rerolling the 1 for the warrior on the Frost. My thought process was the following: he has only strength 4. I have 6 toughness 6 wounds. Should be able to be good in this fight. I have 6 attack before he strikes, plus 2 stand and shoot, so should be not so bad for me. And then I decided not to move the cannon because now I have a lot of targets that I can shoot at. And of course my Hunter moved back. The idea here, if he charges me with any of the units, I can always flee over my unit and be behind my lines in a safe zone. So not bad. Depending how many wounds he has left, I can always stand and shoot as well. With strength 7, it's quite scary for him. So we'll see what he decides to do. In Magic, I'm casting a Swarm of Insect on the Feldark, I guess this one, but this was dispelled by my opponent. I tried to cast a Break the Spirit on the Feldark as well, but I guess this was cast this time, so on this guy to, yeah, same process as before. He will think twice before charging this Hunter, so that's a good news for me. And then I try to put +1 toughness on, I guess this Hunter. I had 2 dice left, don't remember exactly. Cannon, I'm able to hit the Feldark, but then I roll a 1 to wound, so nothing. The Hunter does nothing as well. And then with this guy, I'm able to put 2 wounds on the giant, so this guy is rolling well, to another 2 wounds, and with the mercenaries I'm able to kill him. So he had only 2 wounds remaining, I'm within short range, with 10 shots, I'm able to kill him, and the BSB, good news, is able to kill this time the 2 remaining dogs. That's good news, and here with the ogres I'm able to kill the other dogs. So basically I clean all the chaff, the first giant, so the situation at the end of my turn 3 is not bad. I've break the spirit here, he's still quite far away with the monsters, so I was feeling pretty good at this point. I decided to take the bait with the warrior and was able to roll a 10 to connect to my frost mammoth. Move forward with Exalted Herald and took the dragon out to take some risk. He moved forward, but no charges from the Elder and from both units of Feldark, and put back, I don't know why exactly, decided to put back the Exalted Herald. I thought there are a lot of possibilities to threat me on the flank, and if you take the dragon out, I mean, you better... I will not shoot at the Exalted Herald if the dragon is out, so you better use him to threat something. I mean, there was possibilities to move a bit around, to do something different, so I was a bit surprised. I decided to take the bait as well with this warrior against this unit of tribesmen, decided to flee. This made a panic check on 9 rerollable for the cat, was able to pass it, so just flee in a safe zone, not bad. Now I will be able to rally within BSB general range, so that's not bad. Magic. He rolls reroll to wound, so we had the small card, meaning the 6 dice against 4, and a +1 on the miscast, and he decided still to roll with 4 dice. Because basically the idea of my bait was as well, if you want to boost this combat, he has to take the dragon out of this zone. So that's what I like about this bait, but he decided to move out, so he still be able to boost the warrior in combat. And to my surprise, he rolled with 4 dice, reroll to wound, lethal strike on these guys. He rolled a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6, so I'm not able to dispel this. And then with 2 dice, he decided to cast a snipe on the hunter. I was able to dispel it. And then in close combat, to my surprise, so... Okay, he has quite a lot of attack. I guess it's 3 attack each in the first rank, so that's 6 times 3, 18, plus 1, 19, plus 5 in the back rank, 24. Stand and shoot, I did nothing, so double 6 to hit, and then double 2 to wound, and then nothing with the strength 2. And then in combat, I'm able to strike with both Ogre on top. I did only 1 wound, I guess, so I have still a lot of attack. He strikes, hit pretty well on the 3+, rerolling the 1. And then wound on 6+, he did 1 wound, and then rerolls it and rolled like 5 6s. I was like, okay, this is surprising, but this can always happen if you allow him to cast such a spell. So that was a big risk since I had no binding scroll. I guess this play was a bit risky for me. So he's able to one-shot my Frost Mammoth and reform because he had no overrun. So he just reformed to face both my unit. Luckily for me, I was able to pass the 8 rerollable on the mercenaries and the 9 with no reroll on the hunter. So that's at least something, but I have no Frost Mammoth anymore. That was a bit surprising for me. My turn 4, so I have to react. I charge with the hunter and the warrior, and I decide to move forward with the Keen Eater to chaff the elder. I move forward as well to chaff with the unit of tribesmen. I guess at this point of time this was not needed. I didn't need really to chaff the warrior. They are far away. I guess I was just a bit afraid from the fact that he could charge with the warrior against the Keen Eater and then overrun into the mercenaries. But maybe with a better reform, I could have been able to avoid the overrun and therefore not use already this piece of chaff right now. Anyway, decided to use it. I wasn't able to rally on this unit with the reroll in general, so I needed to flee another couple of inches. And then the Mammoth Hunter was able to pass the march check with the reroll, 9 rerollable, and then to march here in between. I just had enough place to march, to throw another spear at this guy. I just move a bit sideways, not allow him to move in this little space, and not allow him to move in this space, so I have quite a lot of possibilities. Move a bit back with the cat, yeah, and I guess that's it more or less. Magic. I put Swarm of Insect on the dragon, was able to do 1 wound, which is good. And then I did Break the Spirit, I guess. I don't remember on who, to be honest. Maybe the warrior, I'm not sure, to be honest. But I failed. Then I tried +1 toughness. I think on the hunter here, but this was dispelled. And with the cannon, I tried to shoot at the dragon, of course, but I did a misfire, and misfire 6, so I lose 1 wound. And the mercenaries did a good round of shooting, hitting on 5+, wounding on 6s. I was able to do 3 wounds on the dragon, 2 poison, and then another wound. So this is not bad at all. And the BSB was shooting as well, but he was able to do 1 armor save 5+, so I did 4 wounds totally during this turn on the dragon, which is really good. I was quite happy about that. And then in combat, I was able to win by 4. I did like 5 or 6 wounds, and then he did 2 wounds to me. I was winning by 4. He had no steadfast. He lost combat, this fled, and I was able to pursue and catch him. So quite happy. I was able to kill something, and yeah, I'm a bit out of everybody at the moment, but that's a unit less who can threat me on the flank. So that's good news. And with this hunter, I wasn't able to wound him. I think I rolled a 1 to wound. And that's it for my turn 4. My opponent turn 4. I decided to charge with the warrior block on tribesman, charge with the elder on the chaffing keen hitter. And of course, yeah, with the overrun, the idea was also to be out of the irresistible charge of this guy. And then I decided, to my surprise, to put the Feldark in front of my unit. As a heavy chaff, so to say, and moved around with the Feldark Elder to try to threat the hill. He still has a hill to protect, and move a bit forward with the Feldark, but still giving me a front with a possible counter charge of the dragon. The dragon decided to move back behind the Impassible because he has only 2 wounds remaining. And then the Exalted Herald moved again back in the game. What I like is, okay, he's behind the Impassible, but I can always march. If I am able to pass my leadership check, I should be able to march 14, and then to throw a spear at him. If he charges me, I have another stand and shoot. So 2 ways to hit him, probably on 3+, and then wounding on 3+. So likelihood to kill him would be pretty high. So I like this scenario. And still I guess I'm still a bit far away. Maybe I could throw a spear as well with this guy by doing 14. I guess that would still be a bit far away for him to shoot at the dragon. But that was always my idea, by having the hunter a bit on the side, that I should be able to threat behind the Impassible in the later stage if he comes forward. Okay, I guess that's it. Let's move on to magic. My opponent was able to cast a heavy Wrath of God. He rolled a 4, 4, 6 in a 2. He still keeps rolling with 4 dice. No worries, even with Thaumaturgy. So he was able to cast it here with reroll to wound, and then he tried to put Touch of the Reaper on my hunter. I tried to dispel it because I really wanted to move forward and then throw a spear at him in the next turn. But with 4 dice against 6, he was able to cast it. Fortunately for me, he did nothing this turn, so that's at least a good news. In combat, he was able to make me flee and to catch me, I guess, not sure. And here did only 2 wounds to my keen hitter. My turn 4, unfortunately I have no picture, but let's move on to the turn 5 of my opponent, and I will tell you a bit what I did in my turn 5. So basically, in my turn 5, I decided to countercharge the Elder with the Mercenaries Veteran. I decided, what else? I wasn't able to pass the leadership check with the Hunter to throw a spear at the dragon, unfortunately for me. So that was a bit sad, because I really wanted to finish him. I charged in combat with the BSB's unit in general into the Feldark Elder, but was only able to do 3 wounds to him, which was a bit, unexpected. I expected much more. He was able to do 1 wound to my BSB, could have done much more. That was a bit dangerous to go into this combat with the BSB. I guess I should have moved the BSB out at the turn before to be able to charge without the BSB and take no risk in this combat. And then made him flee and just reform to be able to protect the wall. I chaffed the Feldark, I chaffed the unit of warrior, who pursued and catch my tribesman. So I was able to do that. And here I moved back in the game with the hunter to threat counter charges, and then maybe shots in the dragon. In my magic phase, I used the binding. He used the binding scroll on my hereditary spell to avoid me protecting too much my unit against the incoming combat. I tried to put, I was able to put +1 toughness on the mercenaries to protect them against the Wrath of God. Then I tried to put Break the Spirit on the Feldark Elder to make him hit badly, but failed. And then I tried the Rod of Battle, was dispelled by my opponent. In combat, yeah, first of all, the Wrath of God did 4 wounds to my unit, I guess 1 wound to the Keen Eater, and then the Elder was still here. I did 2 wounds to the Feldark Elder, was here, and did another 3 to 4 wounds to the Warrior. So that was not bad because it was hitting his units as well, and did as well like 4 wounds to the unit of Tribesmen. That was it. So on his turn 5, my opponent was able to rally. He charges both Chaffing unit, charges with the Exalted Herald onto the Keen Eater. I didn't put them properly. I generated a new unit to be able to move them better on UB, but then I didn't align them back properly. That was a mistake from my part, because they were really on the same line, so the overrun wouldn't have been possible onto this unit if I put them really on the same line. So that was a mistake from my part. So yeah, that was it. I mean, that was my fault. And then the rest of his movement, he moved again a bit out of the impassable to threat me with the dragon as well. I was a bit surprised. I guess that was to boost combat as well, to be within 80 of the Exalted Herald. But still, that will give me another cannon shot and another possibility to move around and shoot with both Hunter maybe. So not bad. His magic. Let's see what he did. He tried to snipe my Hunter on the bottom of the map, did 1 wound, so I still have 1 wound remaining. And then he tried to put on the Exalted Herald a reroll to wound. I was able to dispel it. And in combat, he did only 1 wound to me with the Exalted Herald, so I still have 1 wound remaining, so no overrun right now. He was able to kill me and just reform. I did only 1 casualties back, was able to kill the dog. And let's move on to my turn 6. My turn 6, I took the following decision. I was a bit baited by the Herald, the idea of having a charge, a flank, probably a big flank. I have 16 attack, poison, strength 5, hitting on 4+, plus 3 impact hits. I like this idea. He's super now, so he might, if I'm able to do like 2 to 3 wounds with the combat result, I might have a good chance to kill him. The alternative would have been to just move back and then charge him with the Hunter and try to tie him with a challenge this turn, then next turn let him kill the Keen Eater. That was a bit the alternative idea. And here I decided to move my BSB out to be able to give to shoot four shots at the dragon and to chaff at the same time the warrior unit. Unfortunately for me, I wasn't able to pass my march with this Hunter, so I won't be able to shoot at the dragon. So I just march a bit forward to advance a bit forward to shoot at the Elder with 2 wounds remaining. My cannon didn't move, so I have a lot of juicy shots at the dragon. I have 4 shots poison, I have a hunting spear and a dragon shot, cannon shot. So that should be something to kill a dragon, maybe. We'll see. Magic. I tried to cast Hereditary Spell on the mercenaries and this was casted successfully. Then I tried to put +1 toughness on my Death Star to basically what I did, I forgot to mention, but this is my wall. I moved a bit forward of the mall and put everybody in the front arc. Basically both fell. If everybody charged in, it's not possible to be on the wall, first of all. And then, because he has no musician on both units, he's not able to move around and go on the wall. So basically, and also the reform, it's not possible to go on the wall with no musician. So basically, if my BSB stops the warrior unit, I'm fine. I protected my piece of train. Magic, then I tried to put Swarm of Insect on the dragon, only with 2 dice, and I rolled double 4 and he has magical resistance too, so this was not cast. I think I made something wrong. In this turn I should have cast, first of all, Swarm of Insect with 3 dice on the dragon. Let's see what happens, and then try to boost the combat with mercenaries. I guess that would have been much harder for my opponent to choose what to dispel. And then shooting, at least something from this Hunter with the strength 7, I'm able to kill him. So that's good news. But unfortunately for me, my cannon roll doesn't hit another time this turn against the dragon. My BSB did nothing, and then I have the hunting spear, a hit on 3+, wound on 4+, but my opponent rolls a 6 on the armor saves and saves it. So I'm not able to kill the dragon, unfortunately. In close combat, I didn't roll well. I was only able to roll 3 hits, 2 poison and a 5, and then I'm able to wounding with the lone hit. I did only 3 wounds. He was able to save all 3 of them with 6 up and then 4+ Aegis. So I did nothing. Luckily for me, he did only 1 wound in return. Of course, he's hitting on a 3+ or 2+ even. I guess a 2+, and then wounding on a 4+ because I had the Children of Umi with like 5 or 6 attacks. So he did only 1 wound to me. I was still winning combat by 2. I had a charge, a flank, a big flank, and he did 1 wound. So I was winning by 2, but he was able to pass his leadership 6, I guess. He has only probably 8 or 9, -2. He was able to pass it and therefore suffer no additional wound. So that was positive for him. And let's move on to his turn 6. Oh, I forgot to mention, when I kill this guy, this forced 2 panic check on both these units. He passes with this unit, but failed with this one, and was forced to flee in opposite direction to the Death Star, so this way. Okay, let's move on to his turn 6. Basically, so that's, he was able to rally them. Of course, he was able to pass to get successfully the 9 Swift Ride on the flank of the mercenaries, and this is a nightmare combat for me. This is where I realized should have just moved back, make a challenge with this guy and just take the challenge and give him both units, but then secure the scenario, which is worth a lot of more points than what I tried to do. Here just moved slightly back and decided to take the charge with the 4 warrior against my BSB. In Magic, he put -1 toughness and leadership on the mercenaries. Okay, I let it in, and then I was able to dispel reroll to wound on the BSB. In combat, I did first a challenge with my champion who was here. First he accepted with the Exalted Herald, but then I made him realize that he couldn't strike with the dragon. And then, of course, we are training on UB. I was okay to allow him to strike with the dragon on the challenge. He was able, of course, it would have made no difference because he was able to, the Exalted Herald, to do 3 wounds to the mercenaries, so would have killed the champion and still strike. Killed with the dragon as well, almost the entire unit. With the dragon and Exalted Herald, I guess I had only 2 wounds remaining after the attacks, and then I had to flee. He was able to pursue me with the dragon and therefore avoid me taking the scenario. And here he was able to roll 3 6s, and that means a dead BSB. I was able to kill only 3 in return, so we had 1 left. But luckily for me, with the overrun, it ended up far away because he could have ended up on my wall, and that would have been really a nightmare if he won the scenario with this move. I guess I made quite a mistake. Should have gone take the general out to help the BSB, and with both together, I would have been in much more safe position to chaff the warrior. Okay, that's it. Let's count the points. That's the final picture of the game. So it took for me a bit more point than what I took for him, and to my surprise, that was an 11-9 for him. Yeah, due to a lot of facts that I will analyze right now. But first of all, I was a bit surprised by the fact that he counter-deployed so far away. I talk a little bit about it during the deployment stage on this battle report. I guess he should have maybe chosen the forest if he wanted to play on the opposite part of the map. My opponent's risk-taking approach from mid-game paid off. Really, from turn 3 on, he casted a lot of spell with 4 dice, even with the card number 1, no worries. So he took a lot of risk, but that paid off. And he was able to win the game at the end, despite the not so favorable matchup and the not so favorable situation after the deployment. I'm pretty happy about my use of the Hunter at least. I was able to threat him on flank, to kill some monster, to slow down the approach, so that was at least something positive to take out of this game. Of course, the opening I gave to the warrior on turn 3 was not so smart for me. I could have been a couple of inches back. I was in control of the game, and to give such an opening in this game with no big downside for my opponent, that was a bit dumb for me. I should have stayed a couple of inches back, and even if that means no shots from the hunter on the giant, even that I should have accepted that and maybe put the hunter slightly differently behind the mercenaries and have some cover, but then be safe and not give him any opening with the warrior on the first mammoth, because then I lost just stupidly the big monster who would have been a bit useful to threat him on the flank. So yeah. And then, of course, turn 6, two huge mistakes, which cost me really big in this game. First of all, I should have charged the Exalted Herald with my Hunter, take a challenge on my turn 6, he probably kill me, and then on his turn 6 he kills the Keen Eater. That means the Mercenaries veteran are able to secure the scenario and just need to take probably one panic check on the 8 rerollable. That's it. So I guess that would have been much better. And then, of course, second big mistake was take the BSB out, but not the general. If I would have put the general with the BSB, that would have been easy because I have Ligertong, so a lot less attack. I have 4 more attacks, so I would have been able to kill the warrior and to be safe, not lose my BSB. And that's I don't need really to have the Ligertong within the bruiser block at this stage, so that was really stupid for me. So yeah, 2 big mistakes which cost me really big, because I lost the BSB, I lost the scenario, I lost the mercenaries in the process. So I should have been able, with a better turn 6, to win it with a 14-15 with no problem. So I guess, yeah, that's a bit annoying. After the game, I was a bit frustrated with the roll, of course, thinking, yeah, that was unlucky because he got the 10 Swift Stride on my first Mammoth, he got the 9 Swift Stride with the Dragon on my mercenaries. Of course, that's one way to see it, but I mean, why did this happen? Why basically did I lose this game? It's just because of my bad decision, and especially on turn 6, that was 2 stupid decisions which cost me really big on turn 6, because I mean, if at least I would have been a bit smarter on the top of the map with the general, I wouldn't have lost the BSB, I would have at least tied the game or maybe won it, so that would have been already a huge difference within the game, and the same for the mercenaries. But making these 2 mistakes at the same time, that was really big on turn 6. So yeah, that's it. I mean, just have to take these points with me and to learn from this mistake during this game. I was a bit frustrated to only bring 9 points back to my team in a positive matchup. I guess I was pretty happy about deployment, the early stages, the movement, and the way I played with both hunters. That was quite positive. But then I made a small mistake by giving probably a piece of chaff too early on turn 4, and then I made the mistake of the Frost Mammoth and both mistake of turn 4 and that of turn 6, and that's basically way too much to win the game. Okay, I hope you like the battle reports. You will see what we did overall during this round and during all the round of this tournament in a separate video. Probably that, or maybe I will do everything during the last battle report, maybe the battle report number 3. We'll see what I do on the channel, but you will have a good way to see what happened during the whole tournament and how we perform as a team. Okay, talk to you soon on my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.